I have not seen anything this disruptive during my lifetime, and I'm old, so this is pretty cool.
Let's hear from the experts about how artificial intelligence is transforming the world of business. I'm Katie Gaertner, and this is Unsupervised. Hey, Business Badgers. Today, I'm sitting with Neeraj Arora, a marketing professor here at the Wisconsin School of Business. He's also the academic director of the Marketing Leadership Institute here. Neeraj earned his PhD in business from The Ohio State University, specializing in marketing and statistics. His research is tech-centered, including large language models, digital marketing effectiveness, and machine learning for marketing analytics. So, Neeraj, thank you for joining me. Let's talk about marketing and AI.
Thank you for having me. You got the D part right in the Ohio State, so I'm grateful for that. I'm just kidding.
Well, Neeraj, before we dive very deep, we need to lay the foundation. What is marketing? Why is it a major at the School of Business?
Yeah, at a pretty high level, if you think about marketing, companies are in the business of value creation, right? So when you think about value creation, marketing plays a pretty important role. So when we're trying to, for example, sell a product, it needs to give consumers something. More specifically, in marketing, we think in terms of what we call the 4 Ps, the product, the price, promotion, and place. So product would be me as a cell phone provider like Apple, putting out a product that you like, and price it. Second P is price, like price it appropriately so you're willing to pay that price. Promote it well is the third P, and then have it be available at a place where consumers can walk in and get that. So when you think about those 4 Ps, that principle would apply to pretty much any product that you can think of. And what we try to do is have the best combination of those factors to fulfill consumer needs. So it's a very rich area, leverage different aspects of sort of psychology, analytics, strategy, and overall just a fun area to be in.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So how is AI being used in marketing?
It's super pervasive. It's also give you more specific examples that our students can relate to is going back to the 4 Ps. So on the product side of things, think about Netflix or Spotify, right? The show that you did that is sort of served to you, to Katie, not to me. Mm-hmm. Your shows are different than mine. The feeds that you see on Spotify that are targeted, like these companies know your past history, your taste buds, and then they can customize for you to see new artists, new performers that otherwise would have never really even gone there, right? Mm-hmm. So being able to leverage AI to algorithmically serve you these movies, this music is all sort of AI driven. So that's sort of the product side of sort of a good example of that. On pricing, think Uber, think airline pricing, or you going to Amazon to buy something. That those prices are dynamically being determined by a variety of factors. So surge pricing, we're kind of all familiar with that for Uber. If the demand's too high, the price needs to be adjusted because there's only a finite number of drivers out there. So there's that angle on pricing. So that's sort of a good example of that. Third P would be promotions, and that's big. That's where I think your students, they are digital natives. They can relate to it pretty well. So what you see on your Instagram feed or your TikTok feed is in terms of ads is very targeted. It's very algorithmically driven. You kind of knew that. Students kind of know that stuff. It's determined by your interests, your past patterns of what you've bought recently. That data infrastructure is super sophisticated. Meta knows so much about you, mm-hmm. and through multiple mediums. Google knows so much about you through multiple mediums. So all of that is they apply AI to serve ads to you. The final place is you go to a website. What you see on Amazon is very different than what I see because of my purchase history and what gets recommended to me. All of that is algorithmically driven, AI driven. So those are like classic examples of AI, and they're super pervasive.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really disrupted kind of every element of the marketing world.
Yeah, very much so. I completely agree with that. Yeah.
So what are some of the most exciting or transformative AI developments that you see coming up in marketing that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I think the answer is not going to surprise you. The answer is generative AI, right? So all the examples I gave you, I would call like traditional AI. And I would say, just making up a number, that's like 70-80% of AI today. Mm-hmm. But that's call it the traditional AI. All the examples that I gave you. Where the real sort of excitement today is in the world of generative AI, and in particular large language models, and what's happened in that space over the last 2 years with GPT becoming so mainstream that you really are in a brand new world. So let me give you a couple of examples. Any action that a company takes is typically based upon insights they glean from consumers. So what are their needs, what price point's appropriate? That requires a whole sort of slew of marketing research tools. So what we show in this one paper that recently got published is this whole pipeline of the research process, from like problem recognition to which research approach do I use, who to sample, what data to use, how to analyze that data. This whole pipeline, every step along the way, we show in this paper, the LLMs can really be your friend, your assistant, and then they just do a phenomenal job of for example, picking, who to talk to, what kind of questions to ask, stuff that was like really monotonous, mundane, repetitive tasks that, people were writing surveys, for example, or writing a discussion guide for qualitative research. All of that stuff is now, very, very heavily assisted by these generative AI LLMs. And the two places where I see like big traction that's happening, the first one that won't surprise you because you're the analytics person, is in the analytics space. We are companies that I'm working with, they're finding that they're like so able to streamline analytics so much that stuff that used to take like, a day to do can now be done in an hour. It's like these order of magnitude gains are super impressive. The other one that may be a little less obvious to our students is this notion of synthetic respondents. So in the traditional world, I would go find people and talk to them and get like their data and analyze it, qualitative or quantitative, and then glean insights from that. But what if we were in a world where I could create a persona? So I could create a persona for Katie that I look at your background, your education, the fact that you're a professor, you teach analytics. I could make up this persona and then ask the LLM to ask your evaluation for a variety of products. So we do that in that paper. And there's this whole sort of new world of vendors out there that are playing in that area. So that's very disruptive. Being able to use synthetic respondents to glean insights is pretty powerful, especially for like hard to reach people who are like oncologists, for example. If you're designing a MRI kind of machine, very expensive, millions of dollars. Oncologists are impossible to reach, very expensive. So could I glean starter ideas through these personas that I create and serve as like prior information, that I can update with like real oncologists, right? That's That's like a long answer to because it's a paper we just published.
So I want to know a little bit more about your synthetic customers. Are those, when you create a synthetic customer, is it based on a real person, or is it kind of like a amalgamation of a typical person?
Yeah, it's. Let me briefly tell you about my research. What we did was there was some qualitative research that was done by a company, and there was some quantitative research that was done by a company. So we had those actual data. So what we did was we pretended to be the person that the company got data from. So we knew, for example, this person in Chicago has this kind of a professional education, their professional background, 3 kids, blah, blah, blah. Right? So we know this personas. So we tell the LLM that pretend to be this person, and then we ask them the same questions that we asked of the real person was asked, and then we compared the two. And what we learn in both qualitative and quantitative data is qualitative space. It does a really, really good job. It can actually add to what Katie would have otherwise told me, like this newer insight, fresher perspectives that Katie didn't tell me because Katie was busy that day, right? So it can be used to complement what a human would do.
Interesting. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so can you share with me some examples about how, and you've done this a little bit already, but maybe you have some more examples of how AI is changing the way companies compete, and like how are marketing companies or companies that use marketing adapting their traditional business models to this new technology?
There are efficiency gains from LLMs and there are productivity gains from LLMs. So efficiency is the notion of like, I can do this cheaper. So chatbot is cheaper than a human, or a human agent when assisted by an LLM can do the work like a lot more efficiently. So that it just does things quicker.
Okay.
And then there's this productivity, which is like a chatbot can actually talk to 100 customers versus compare that to a human agent talking to 100 people, right? So there's this productivity gains, which is like scaling, like you can scale this up to a lot of people and then do it efficiently. So that's one way to think about. There's the other way to think about this is automating a job versus augmenting a job. So, and both those sort of ways to think about LLMs is helpful to me. That for most marketing functions, I can see areas where I can become more efficient with the use of LLM, or I could become more productive with the use of LLM because I can now have LLM write emails to 10,000 people versus me as a person writing each email as like so much more efficient, right? So that's that efficiency argument. The other part of it is like automation versus augmentation. I think it doesn't matter like if it's marketing or operations or supply chain, this would apply to all functions. The idea would be something like if you have like a repetitive task that's boring, mundane, that could be automated. And I think that we are seeing examples of email is a good example of that. But pretty much every other aspect of marketing, be it like, you're a salesperson, you're a brand manager, if you're a insights person, all of these people are being able to use the LLM for augmenting their day-to-day work. They're able to sort of take out the boring stuff, have it be automated, creating PowerPoint slides, writing emails, summarizing minutes of meetings, all that, like that is going to help everybody, right? And then they can use, hopefully, this time that they have left, they can use it for more productive tasks, right? So I think that would apply across marketing to most functions.
Okay. Interesting. So that leads to my next question, which is, how do you see job roles in marketing changing with this new emergence of surge of AI? And what skills are becoming important for our budding marketing professionals here at the business school that they're going to need to develop to be competitive?
make the LLM like your assistant for all your learnings. It's sort of super important to do technical classes like the ones that you teach. I teach marketing analytics, and then especially in those types of classes, there are some pain points along the way, right? In terms of, I don't know R, I don't know Excel that well, or I don't know Python. I can learn R today from like zero, like knowing nothing, by having sort of the LLM teach me. What is R? How do I load it on my computer? How do I import the data? How do I do basic statistics? All of that is really is so much easier to do today than it was. So it's kind of fantastic to be living in this time. I think when it's personally energized me. I don't know about you, but it really has, and that's true for students too. It's like some of my students tell me like I'm AI'd out. It's like I hear about AI, and I think I get that, but at the same time, this is like I have not seen anything this disruptive during my lifetime, and I'm old, so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great advice. So you would say stay current on what's happening in AI, follow the current issues so that you can be abreast with what's happening, and then consider those developments critically. Would you say it's your advice?
Absolutely. That's I couldn't have said it as well as you did. I think you're absolutely right. Staying current but being objective, and then lend your voice to it. Talk to people outside too. Talk to push us back in the classroom. Like when I'm like this ambassador of AI, push us back. Like, what about this? Then I'm learning something from you, right? So push, your friends, and then we all need to develop a balanced perspective on this, and at least that's what I'm trying to do. So.
Oh, that's great advice. All right, let's wrap up with a fun question.
Yeah.
If you could offload one task or responsibility to AI or robotics that you wouldn't have to do anymore, what bot would you invent?
And going back to like what I was saying earlier, is like, what's the mundane? What's the boring? What's the stuff I don't like to do? And in my life, I used to like mowing my yard. I used to like, I still like shoveling. I do like shoveling, but those tasks which are somewhat repetitive, I don't get joy out of those. If I can automate those, then I think those are good candidates for offloading to an AI or a robot, and hopefully the time that it saves me, I can go play tennis or play soccer, or like read a book or something, talk to you, frees up time to do more fun stuff. So that's my guiding principle. I'm sure your students will have their own.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what my students come up with, but I love the idea of a snow shoveling robot. I've never heard that before. I'm totally on board. I'm ready to invest.
There you go.
Well, Neeraj, thank you so much. I learned so much about what's happening in marketing and AI right now, and I'm really grateful you took the time to sit down and chat with me.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing this. This is fun, and hopefully the students get something out of this too. So
I'm sure they will.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Unsupervised is brought to you by the Wisconsin School of Business. It's written and hosted by Katie Gaertner, with sound editing and production by Derek Schneider and Billy Kardaj.